Hello again, everybody. Diamond Jim's 45 here. Welcome back to the channel. It's Father's Day, and if you're a father and you're in the card collecting world, more power to you. Enjoy your day to the fullest, and I hope you're able to live it like a king today. Just like to tell a few stories about my dad and baseball and whatever. My dad grew up in the middle of Oklahoma, graduated from high school in 1934, the year of the Gas House Gang Cardinals. He was a big Cardinal fan. He loved Dizzy Dean and Pepper Martin. My dad liked everybody from Oklahoma except for one guy, and that was Mickey Mantle. Why, I don't know, but he had his reasons. My mother was from Texas, so that was an interesting dynamic in itself. And she hated to go to Oklahoma. And so if we went, she had a stipulation that we had to stay at the Mickey Mantle Hotel, the Mickey Mantle Holiday Inn in Joplin, Missouri. That was one of Mickey's minor league cities. It was right there on old US 66. My dad's hometown was on US 66 in Oklahoma. Anyway, we travel from southwestern Indiana to St. Louis, pick up 66 in St. Louis and drive down to Joplin, spend the night in his hotel, and then make our way to Lincoln County, Oklahoma, right smack dab in between Tulsa and Oklahoma City. And my mother kept a receipt from the Mickey Mantle Hotel one night. It was... there's no date on it. There's also no zip code, so it would have to be, if that's the case, it would have to be before July 1st, 1963, I believe. That's when zip codes came into play. Anyway, kept the receipt. It was me and my brother, my mom and dad, 4 people in a Holiday Inn, and it cost us $12 and some odd cents. And we did make a phone call. That was like $1.21. So not that bad. Anyway, my dad worked as a clinic administrator at a clinic, medical clinic in southwestern Indiana. And he was on a business trip to Boston. And there were also 4 doctors from that clinic on the trip. And my dad found out that night that the Red Sox are in town. So he asked those 4 guys that he was with, hey, let's go to the game. And none of them wanted to go. So my dad went by himself and saw a no-hitter. It was the Earl Wilson no-hitter back in the early 60s for the pitcher for the Red Sox. And I can remember my dad would come home on Friday nights during the grass cutting season, and he would trim the grass the night before, and he would have a little transistor radio out there listening to Harry Carey and Jack Buck and the Cardinals while he was trimming the grass. And I can remember, and I looked it up today on Baseball Reference, I think it was, September 29th, 1964. We had an old radio down in our basement where we lived, and it was one of those radios where, this was the last radio you bought before you bought a television. It was one of those big console radios. It had AM, it had, shortwave radio on it. And anyway, we were listening to a Cardinal game in late in the season, 1964. And Harry Carey always kept saying, the Cardinals have a friend in Pittsburgh. The Cardinals have a friend in Pittsburgh. Well, it was Bob Friend who was pitching against Cincinnati, and Bob pitched a shutout against Cincinnati, which we needed, and the Cardinals beat Philadelphia that night, which we needed. I believe the Cardinals played one more game with Philadelphia, finished up with the Mets, and won the league and went on to win the World Series in 1964, where they played the Yankees and beat them 4-3, which gave the Cardinals a 3-2 lead all time in World Series against the Yankees, which I'm pretty proud of. Anyway, my dad and I one time were just sitting around one Sunday in 1969, and he looked at the box scores and the starting pitchers for today's games on a Sunday afternoon, and I think it was Holtzman against Gibson, and so the next thing I know, my dad and I are at the airport getting on an Eastern Airlines plane flying to St. Louis to see that game. And the only thing I remember about the flight is that the stewardess came down through the middle of the plane, of course, in the aisle, and was selling cigarettes. So that's 1969 was a whole different ball game, let me tell you. And I can remember playing pitch and catch, and just having a great time with my dad, and a lot of it had to do with baseball and how we both liked it. And Father's Day, my dad died at a real early age. My dad only had 18 Father's Days, and this Father's Day is my 39th. And what I'd give to have one more catch with my dad. And but then, you know what? You'd have to say goodbye again. So that's the way that goes. So, he raised two sons, both one retired and one almost retired. And both his sons raised two kids that are happy, well-adjusted little taxpayers, and life is good. So once again, enjoy your day, fellas. Live like a king, and don't let anybody talk you out of it. So once again, Diamond Jims, and so long for just a while.